Okay, I thought I was showing you guys my process, but I hit record, and then
Hey, what everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Kesha Said It Show. Hey guys, what's happening? What's happening? I hope you all are doing great. It's been a hectic couple of days for me, but all pleasurable. I can say that. All very pleasurable. So today, you can probably notice that our word of the day is action. And so we're going to talk about all things basically boundary setting, inherited storms, generational trauma, things that have been passed down to us. And it's time for us to stop harboring those things and to actually take action. We want to take action, right? No one needs to be stuck in a storm, especially if that's not your storm to deal with. Okay, so I want to start off by asking you guys, how many of you have heard of generational curses? Anybody? Anybody out there? Am I the only one? I hope not. So, what is a generational curse? We want to stand in that space a little bit before we dive into all the other stuff. It is something, it's a past trauma that has been basically given to us out of our control. We have inherited this past trauma. It's almost like a negative birthright, right? Most birthrights are like positive. You come into like a whole bunch of money, generational wealth. You're an heir or an heiress, and you get incorporate a business. You get this business handed down to you, this trust fund, all this awesome stuff. But the negative birthright is a generational rewind, a generational curse. That is a tongue twister. I want you to try to say that real fast 3 times in a row. Let me know how you do. And so these are curses, these are storms that have happened maybe to our parents, to our grandparents. It could even be a sibling, it could be an older sibling, right? And they have attempted to deal with it and have been unsuccessful in dealing with that. And what it does is it trickles down to you, meaning you are that empath, if you're that caregiver, if you're that younger sibling that really should be placed as the older sibling, um, the more responsible one, the more well put together one. You inherit those storms, those trials, those tribulations, basically those curses. That could look like abuse, child abuse. It could look like a traumatic experience that happened to our grandparents, slavery times. If we go all the way back to that, it could be colorism. It could be involvement with the law. It could be broken relationships, torn relationships between family members, between um, in-laws, families in love. You know how people say now, my family in love, my mother-in-law in love, my mother in love, my father in love, all that stuff. It could be things that they have experienced, but unfortunately, you as that empathetic person, you as that caring person, you as the stable, quote unquote, person has inherited that storm. meaning you have taken on their storm. You have taken on problem solving what their storm is, what their situation is. They have not identified what that resolve looks like, but you have taken it upon yourself to try to identify what that resolve looks like. Make sense? Yeah. So when I break it down like that, how many of us actually do have those generational curses that are brought to us, put on our front doorstep, brought to our table, and we're still trying to figure that out? And sometimes we don't get sleep. Sometimes we get gray hair. Sometimes we're stressed out because we are that empath, because we are that caring person, because we are, quote unquote, the stable family member. If you ever, have you ever been the person in a group? It could be something that an aura that's around you, that you carry around you. It could be the fact that you actually present and care about others, and people are connected to that vibe, that energy. Well, because of that, it's twofold. It can be good, and then it can be unruly. I'm not going to say bad, because it's not a bad thing when you're out there and actually caring for people. You're being a great human, you're being a kind human, and you're opening up your energy for individuals to feel comfortable enough to sit in that space with you and to share some of their deepest, innermost thoughts, feelings, emotions, right? But it can be a little unruly, meaning if you're that person that everybody goes to, who are you going to go to? Who is going to sit at the table and listen to you when you have a bad day? How are you even going to listen to yourself? How are you going to pour into yourself when so much of your energy has been taken to give to another person, to try to solve their puzzle, to try to heal their storm, or help them survive their storm, heal their hurt, right? How do you navigate that? How do you navigate being that person for other people? And I'm going to give you an analogy. What happens? Everybody's been in a rainstorm, right? And we are holding our umbrella, right? If you've been anywhere, stuck in the rain, coming out of the mall, coming out of the grocery store, leaving a concert, leaving the club, wherever, getting out your car, going to work, and you see another individual, right? And you're like, oh my goodness, I have an umbrella. Come on under here with me. And you're holding the umbrella and you're making sure that they're protected from the elements, right? From the rain, from the water. And they're completely dry. But what's happening? What's happening behind that? You were getting wet, right? You were getting soaked and drenched because you have reached out to save someone else. You have inherited their storm. They're safe, they're sound. The problem is not laying on their doorstep right now. It's on you. You're getting wet because that focus has shifted from you caring for yourself to you protecting them. And we all do it. We all get caught up in it. If you're a parent, you do it every day. But there's a little wiggle room for that because those children did not ask to be here. You signed up to be a parent. Whether you think you did or not, you made a conscious decision to be a parent. So that technically doesn't count. But what counts is when you are that go-to for friends, when you're that go-to for your siblings, when you're that go-to for your cousins, when you're that go-to for your parents, and those roles have shifted. You hear me? Those in the back, do you hear me? Let me repeat that. When those roles have shifted, how many of you have witnessed or either experienced where you have become the parent and the parent is now the child? The parent is dependent upon you. That is a tough struggle, a tough burden to bear. Because once again, who is going to stand up for you? Who is going to assist you in your darkest hour and in your time of need? That's where boundaries come in. That is where boundaries come in. It's a easy thing to do. Most people won't do it because why? We're human and you're human. Let me say you're human. I'm human too, but let me tell you, I will set a boundary in a minute and not think about it twice. There's some people that struggle with setting boundaries because of how they're seen by other people, how they're perceived by individuals that really don't matter. Well, what are they going to think if I don't say yes, if I don't go here, if I don't say, let me take this phone call when I really should be focusing my energy on my kids, on my family, on my household, on me? How is that going to look? Who cares? Who cares? At the end of the day, it's about setting boundaries to protect you from inheriting other people's storms, inheriting those storms. So there's some steps, right? And inheriting storms sometimes can feel very inevitable. It can feel like it's going to happen and there's nothing I can do about it. But there is some things that you can do about it. You can accept it. You can accept those storms, accept that they're inevitable, but it's important that you set boundaries. I'm not saying walk this earth, ignore everybody, don't try to be a helper, because I am a very caring individual. I am an empath. I get caught in, oh my goodness, is everything okay? Most of my peer circles will say I'm always the one that will put things together, will bring people together, will set up some stuff, will organize some stuff, will schedule some stuff, because we need to make sure everybody that we care about is okay. So I don't want you to take that away from this episode, because I am a caring person, but we have to accept that these storms are inevitable, but we have to also set those healthy boundaries, and it's okay to do that. We're going to take responsibility. And what do we do? What do we mean when we say take responsibility? Well, we're going to deal with it and we're going to learn from it. Now, if it's not your storm and it's a storm that you've been given, it's something that's passed down from your mama or your daddy or your sister or your brother or your niece to you, a lateral storm, then guess what? Teach them how to identify, sit in it, and learn from it. How is that person going to navigate this time, this season, this stormy season in their life? Be that mentor for them. Don't take it on. Be a mentor. We're not asking you to parent people. We're asking you to care. That's two totally different things. Parenting people and caring look nothing alike, because it's not your responsibility to parent an individual that you did not birth. As hard as that sounds, it is what it is. Okay. But how can you mentor them? How can you help them navigate their stormy season? Remember, that umbrella they got to have their own umbrella. Okay. They got to have their own umbrella, because once you take your umbrella and you're making sure that they stay safe from the elements, you are, in fact, getting rained on. You got to take action. What does your action plan look like? What can you do to change? If it's you in the storm, if it's them in the storm, mentoring them, what does that change look like? Now, in an episode or two ago, I kind of talked a little bit about what micro steps are. Micro goals, building up to an ultimate goal. That same theory applies here. Anytime you're trying to change something, you can't change it overnight. You can't go from lower level to the top level in a blink of an eye. You got to start somewhere. So let's identify and help mentor them to see, what steps do I need to take, micro steps, to try to weather this storm. You probably heard people say there's a storm coming. You've seen movies where they say it's a storm coming. It's a storm coming. It's a storm coming. It's always a storm coming. Now, whether it's a hurricane or if it's going to be just a little rainstorm, at the end of the day, it's still a storm. And you need to have these same boundaries in place. You need to have this same game plan of change. You need to have your action plan ready to go in order to tackle that storm. Okay. Acknowledging your progress. Acknowledge your progress. Celebrate you. Celebrate them. Checking in and saying, hey, we talked last week, you had told me that, in order for you to, figure out this relationship, if you still want to be married, or this situation with a friend, what have you done? You mentioned that, you wanted to have a conversation. You wanted to start marriage counseling. Did you call and make an appointment? What does that look like? Because what we're not going to do And most of you are not trained to do that. No disrespect, but you're not trained professionally to be able to sit and give someone therapeutic advice on how to move through a marriage or into marriage or not into marriage. A marriage counselor is the person for that, right? So when you call up your friend and you're giving them all this wrong information, because it's usually wrong, one thing about therapists, they're going to lead you to come up with your own conclusions. They're going to lead you. The goal of therapy is to help you identify what you need to do to get the result you want to get in your life. Okay. What friends do, what family members do is give out horrible advice. Why? Because it's coming from a personal mindset. It's coming from what Joe Blow would do, or what he thinks, or what she thinks she would do if she is placed in your shoes and in that situation. It's too personal. That's not good advice, right? Especially if they have past trauma where they are recently divorced or they've been divorced a couple of times. And guess what? They're telling you, girl, leave that man. Son, leave that woman. I'm on my third wife. Go to professional guidance. Go seek that professional guidance. Stop listening to other people who think they can give you good advice. Okay, that's my rabbit hole for the episode. And if you've been watching the Kesha Said It show, you know we go down a lot of rabbit holes. All right, I digress. But acknowledge the progress that you have made. Acknowledge the progress that they have made. What have they done to get themselves out of this storm at the end of the day? Have they taken action? What is the game plan? Find your peace. I can't say that enough, y'all. Find your peace. And I posted something today on Instagram on my stories that spoke directly to that. You never know, and this is just off the top of my head because I don't, well, you know what? Let me pull it up and read it real quick. What does it say? Let's take a look together. Ooh, okay. It says, if you knew how difficult and long it took some people to recover their peace of mind and happiness, you'll understand why they shut all doors to any potential negativity, and also why they can be so selective about who they allow in their lives. Those in the back, did you hear it? Did you hear it, or do I need to repeat it? And I'm an advocate for peace. I talk the entire time on this show about finding your peace. Without peace, nothing else is going to work out. Nothing else is going to work out. Challenge yourself. Don't challenge me. Argue with yourself. Don't argue with me. Trust me. Without your inner peace, nothing else will work out. Find the courage that you need from that peace to move through that storm, to move through that error in your life. What can you do to find your peace? What will it take for you to find your peace? I want to just sit that right there on your front porch, right there on your lap. What will it take for you to find that peace? Would it be boundary setting? Are there some boundaries that you have acknowledged before? Or maybe just now watching the Kesha Said It show, you realize, oh, I need to set some boundaries with some folks. I need to put some parameters around my space. They go hand in hand. Your peace goes hand in hand with boundary setting. Your peace goes hand in hand with boundary setting. It is okay to say no. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again for those in the back, our besties in the back that are not really paying attention. It is okay to say no. That is a complete sentence. I just wonder, why are people, and you could drop this in the comment section because I really want to hear from you. Why are people so hesitant to say no? What do you think is going to happen? Somebody, anybody. Tell me, what do you think is going to happen when you say no? What is wrong with saying no? Okay, I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, I've been saying no forever because I haven't. It's been a process. It has been a whole process for me. But I can say in the last 5 years, it is a common word in my vocabulary. And anybody can get it. Anybody can get it. Anybody can get that word no from me. And I do get it. I understand why some people, they want to be people pleasers. They want to be accepted. They want to, you know, have 1,000 friends. They want to be the likable person. But at the end of the day, you are who you are. At the end of the day, your character is going to shine regardless. And those that do not acknowledge, accept, or appreciate who you are, they don't belong in your circle. If saying no is going to inhibit that, they don't belong in your circle. Thumbnail. So say no. Take your peace back. I empower you and challenge you to empower yourself. Somebody need to make me a t-shirt. They got any t-shirt sponsors out there? I challenge you to empower yourself to take back your peace. Take it back. If you're struggling with high blood pressure, if you're struggling with stress, if you're struggling with tight muscles, if you're struggling with headaches that you don't know why they came, they just started coming, and you're not hungry, and you've been to the doctor and everything checks out and you're a healthy individual as far as the numbers go, it's probably because you don't know how to say no. And every now and again, I do fall on back and put too much on my plate. And I felt myself doing that last week. I was like, ooh. And it's rubbing off on my daughter because I have expectations for her. And I have to sit back and say, are you putting too much on her plate? She's not you. She hasn't identified that yet. If that's what she wants to do, if she wants to roll like that, if she wants to be that overachiever, let her figure that out. So I have to fall back sometimes. But for myself, I do relapse and I go back to putting too much on my plate. And I know I can't eat it all, right? This is a metaphor, guys, a metaphor, not food. Because as plump and sexy as I am, I really don't eat that much. Go figure. But because first of all, I like staying busy. Okay. Second of all, I like my hands and everything. And I relapse. I say, oh yeah, I could get that done. Oh, let me volunteer here. Let me volunteer there. Oh yeah, I'll be at that meeting. Oh, let me catch this. Let me do that. Oh wait, what I need to do let me work that event for work. Yep. Let me put a date night in. Let's take a vacation. Fall back. Boom. As quick as I start booking stuff and saying, yeah, I'm like, oh, you know what? I ain't gonna be able to do that. Nope. And I take my piece back real quick. So the more you do it, the more you get comfortable with it. It's okay. Because at the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself. So you need to stop inheriting other people's issues, set boundaries. And some people may be on here and say, you know what? I wasn't raised like that. I gotta take care of my people. I have to do what I gotta do. But at the end of the day, if you keep doing what you gotta do, you're not gonna be here to be able to do what you gotta do. And guess what? They're gonna figure it out then, because you're gonna be gone. They don't have no choice but to figure it out. So let's fast forward that and take care of yourself. not only for your longevity and your health and your sanity, but set those boundaries, because at the end of the day, you are an enabler. You are enabling them to continue to call on you, to continue to bind themselves to you, to continue to ask you for everything. And when are they going to learn? When are they going to take on some responsibility, some accountability? They're not. They're not, because you're making it too easy for them. Have you thought about that? Or is it that you need that connection? The internal kid in you needs that connection. It's feeling a void of something for you. There's a void there for some reason. So them needing you is actually you needing them. Them needing you to figure things out for them is actually you needing to feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Validated. That's the word. You needing to feel validated. You needing that attention. You needing that connection, whether it's a good connection or bad connection. You have a need to want to be needed. Now, that's a whole nother topic for another day. That's a whole nother session for the couch. And we almost out of time with this episode. But I want to empower you to take a look into that. Deep dive into why you have to be needed by so many people, why you have to be needed by so many organizations, why you have to belong in a certain circle. What is it satisfying for you? And what are you giving up in return? Hey, what are you giving up in return, baby? So our word of the day was action. And I want to empower you to challenge yourself to come up with an action plan. What do you want to change? What storms are you willing to give up? What boundaries are you willing to set? And how are you going to move forward in your journey to ensure that you are taking care of the most important person, which is you? What does that action plan look like? Drop it in the comments for your girl. Let me know. I want to hear from you. I can't say that enough, y'all. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. I come on here and I say like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's build the community. But I really want you to comment. If you don't do anything else, can you comment? Because these are some things I would like to continue the conversation about. We have to continue that conversation because there's a lot of stuff that we harbor inside and we don't really discuss. There's some tough conversations out here that need to be had. There's some tough conversations that's still on the table. And guess what? If you don't address it and you avoid it, it's not going anywhere. It's just going to continue to sit and sit and sit and fester and fester and fester till the end of the time where you're completely stressed. And we don't know what will happen at that point. Will you get sick? God forbid. Will you shut down? God forbid. So take care of yourself. That's what this is all about. It's caring for yourself. Identifying what you need to be great, to be your real self. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Peace, love, happiness. Until the next time. Bye.